Good day everyone, I'm Antonio Sillo together with my co-member JILYN Pasiolan and ROSELIE Palumar. Today, we'll be talking about contingency theory of leadership, definition, and models. But before we proceed, let's know first our objectives. So the objectives are, at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to define the contingency theory of leadership and Fiedler'S contingency model. Relate each leadership style and situation's favorableness to Fiedler'S contingency model in the workplace. Apply contingency theory and Fiedler'S contingency model to becoming an effective leader. So let's tackle first about contingency theory of leadership. So effective leadership is one of the most attractive qualities in an employee. There are dozens of theories that argue which leadership style is best suited for improving team productivity and maintaining employee morale. The contingency theory of leadership focuses on how specific situations affect a leader's effectiveness and how a leader's ability to adapt can be their most important tool in the workplace. The contingency theory of leadership focuses on how specific situations affect a leader's effectiveness and how a leader's ability to adapt can be their most important tool in the workplace. So now, let's define what is the contingency theory of leadership. The contingency theory of leadership supposes that a leader's effectiveness is contingent on whether or not their leadership style suits a particular situation. According to this theory, an individual can be an effective leader in one circumstance and an effective leader in another one. To maximize your likelihood of being a productive leader, this theory posits that you should be able to examine each situation and decide if your leadership style is going to be effective or not. In most cases, this requires you to be self-aware, objective, and adaptable. So now, let's moving on to the contingency theory of leadership in the workplace. In the workplace, there are dozens of factors that can be affect a leader effectiveness. This includes things like the size of the team, the scope of a project, and the expected delivery date for a result. Different leaders, each with unique leadership styles, respond to these variables in different ways. Contingency theorists would say that no matter how successful a leader is, there will always be a particular situation that will challenge them. Therefore, leaders must be willing to acknowledge the fact that their success depends partially on their circumstances in addition to their personal skills. To lead their team well, managers and supervisors may need to either adapt their leadership style to the current situation or delegate some of their leadership responsibilities to a co-worker. So for example, consider a project manager named Doug, and Doug finds it's much easier to communicate in writing rather than in a person, so he usually encourages his team by sending them thoughtful emails at the end of every week. However, there's a new employee in the office who is not very receptive to written communication. To connect with this employee, Doug will need to either make an effort to change his method and encourage this employee in person, or he will have to assign this task to the assistant manager. In this example, Doug is not a chronically ineffective leader. He is a good leader who is facing an unexpected challenge. If Doug accepts the fact that he will need to adapt to his situation instead of trying to force his usual methods, he can still be a highly productive leader who encourages his team effectively. So the contingency theory of leadership is impacted by a range of specific factors in the average workplace, including maturity level employees, relationships between co-workers, work pace, management style, typical work schedule, goals and objectives, standards for behavior, company policies, employees' work styles, and employees' morale.
And now, we're going to tackle the Fiedler'S contingency model. So this model states the three important factors contribute to situational favorableness. To be productive leaders must consider these factors. However, this theory also considers leadership styles to be fixed and unchangeable. Therefore, if a leader's style is not a good fit for a particular situation, they will need to be replaced by a different leader. To apply Fiedler's theory, you have to determine your leadership style and your situation's favorableness using Fiedler's model. The examples of applying Fiedler's model: consider a basketball team which has a structured task, a low level of power, and a good leader-member relations. Here, you will want the task-oriented coach to set the game plan rather than a relationship-oriented coach giving everyone an equal say. Fiedler's contingency model of leadership states that group effectiveness depends on an appropriate match between a leader's style and the demands of the situations. In other words, effective leadership is contingent on matching the leader's styles to the right setting. So these are the Fiedler's contingency theory of leadership. So we have here the good and poor, the low PC and high PC. So on the other side, we have here a task-oriented and relationship-oriented. And also we have the situational, favorable, moderate, and unfavorable. So in the category, we have leader-member relations, task structure, and leader position. Next is the leadership style. So the first step is to use a scale called the preferred co-worker scale. To use this scale, you must think of a team member you did not or do not enjoy working with. This can be any one form of a former classmate to your current supervisor. Then, you must rate the person on the following scale. So these are the least preferred co-worker LPC scale. So we have here a pleasant, unpleasant, friendly, unfriendly, rejecting, accepting, tense, relaxed, cold, warm, supportive, hostile, boring, interesting, quarrelsome, harmonious, gloomy, cheerful, open, close, backbiting, loyal, untrustworthy, trustworthy, nasty, nice, agreeable, disagreeable, insincere, unsincere, kind, and unkind. Alternatively, a high score will make you a high preferred co-worker leader. HPC leaders are relationship-oriented and focus their energy on building and maintaining healthy and productive relationships in the workplace. They are skilled in conflict management and take multiple variables into account when making decisions. The least preferred co-worker skill, or LPC, is a management heuristic that assigns an individual's leadership style as either task-oriented or relationship-oriented. This skill utilizes subjective evaluations of an individual's attitudes toward their less favorable co-worker. If your score is 57 or below, you are low LPC, which suggests that you are task motivated. If your score is within the range of 58 to 63, if you are middle LPC, which means you are independent. People who score 64 or above are called high LPCs, and they are thought to be more relationship motivated. And the last part of my discussions is the situational favorableness. The second part of Fiedler's model is determining situational favorableness. According to Fiedler, a leader's behavior is dependent upon the favorability of the leadership situations. Three factors work together to determine how favorable a situation is to a leader These are leader-member relations, the degree to which the leader is trusted and liked by the group members, and the willingness of the group members to follow the leader's guidance. Next is task structure, the degree to which the group's task has been described as structured or unstructured, has been clearly defined, and the extent to which it can be carried out by detailed instructions. And the last is leader's positions power, the power of the leader by virtue of the organizational positions and the degree to which the leader can exercise authority on the group members in order to comply with and accept his directions and leadership.
So the first Fiedler's contingency model of situational favorableness is leader-member relations. So these factors involves the amount of trust and confidence that your team members have in you. If you are trusted and well liked by your entire team, your influence will increase and your workplace will become a more favorable situation. So the leader-member relations factor of Fiedler's contingency model of leadership refers to the degree of mutual trust, respect, and confidence between the leader and the subordinates. So when the leader-member relations are good, the leader has a high degree of control of the situation, which makes the situation more favorable for the leader. When leader-member relations in the group are poor, the leader has to shift focus away from the group tasks in order to regulate behavior and conflict within the group. In other words, leader-member relations, this is the level of trust and confidence that your team has in you. A leader who is more trusted and has more influence within the group is in a more favorable situation than a leader who is not trusted. The second Fiedler's contingency model of situational favorableness is task structure. So this factor relates to whether the tasks your team completes are clear and is structured and unstructured. Unstructured tasks do not have a well-specified plan of actions and would be considered unfavorable. So, these task structure factors refers to the extent to which group tasks are clear and structured. So, when the task structured is low or unstructured, the group tasks are ambiguous, with no clear solution or correct approach to complete the goal. Conversely, when task structure is high or structured, the group goal is clear and straightforward, and members have a clear idea about how to approach and reach the goal. In other words, task structures, this refers to the type of task you're doing. Clear, unstructured, or unstructured. Unstructured tasks are tasks where the team and leader have little knowledge of how to achieve are viewed unfavorably. So the third Fiedler's contingency model of situational favorableness is leader position power. This is the amount of power a leader has over their team and involves whether or not they have the authority to give out rewards or punishment. So the leader position power factors refers to the amount of power the leader has over the group, to which extent the leader can reward or punish the group's members. So the stronger the power, the higher the degree to which the leader can control the situation. So when the position power is weak, leaders cannot control the resources, so they lack the same degree of situational control as leaders high in power. And also, the more power you have, the more favorable your situation. So Fiedler's identifies power as being either strong or weak. The last topic we discussed about applying the model. So according to Fiedler, more favorable situations requires LPC leaders. while least favorable ones require HPC leaders. If a situation includes a good leader or team relationship and well-structured tasks, leaders who are task-oriented will likely be more productive. Whereas, if a situation involves a distant leader or team relationship and structured tasks, a relationship-oriented leader will be more effective. While this theory is widely taught and studied, some believe this model does not allow enough flexibility because it does not believe that leaders are capable of changing their leadership style. So in conclusion, Fiedler's contingency model of leadership states that group effectiveness depends on an appropriate match between a leader's style and the demands of the situation. In other words, effective leadership is contingent on matching the leader's style to the right setting.